So you can make plastics out of a lot of different little molecules. They call the little molecules you start with monomers. One mer, or one little repeat unit thing, one link in the chain, if you will. And one of the problems for recycling plastics is that each different type of plastic can have a different little repeat unit with its own unique idiosyncrasies and properties. And even though it repeats sometimes a similar number of times and coils up in somewhat similar fashions, if the little repeat unit is different, it may need a completely different process or very different temperatures or other chemicals to even attempt to reuse it, process it, or recycle it.
So when you recycle metal, you just melt it. And when you recycle plastics, you can't just melt them. So why is that?
Okay, so for metal recycling, things
Glass.
and glass, a lot of times they can kind of remelt those, or even with metals sometimes just bang them into other shapes. Glass in particular is usually, you put it in a glass furnace, really hot of course, but you can kind of reshape it if you get it pure enough. The problem with plastics is once you make these long coils and get them all knotted up with each other, sometimes they don't remelt well at all. Sometimes they can get very brittle and weak. Sometimes they'll actually burn or degrade as they react with air at higher temperatures before they can get even close to soft enough to make into any other useful shape. So you kind of basically almost burn them into a tar or waste products before you can reform them. There are some types of plastic that can be remelted and reprocessed, but purity really becomes an issue. If it's dirty at all, if there's any labels or glue or ink on it, it can really kind of completely change how it gets reprocessed and kind of make it much weaker. And even with the same plastic, the conditions under which they made the object can really influence how strong it is. So if they have to remelt it and remake it, they can sometimes get a really compromised product that's not anywhere near as good as the original, just because of the different processing. So it sometimes is very hard to recycle many types of plastic.